What's going on YouTube? So minivans are a segment that don't get as much attention as they used to. However, things are really heating up this year with an all-new Sienna, a refreshed Pacifica, and this updated 2021 Honda Odyssey. It has long been a top choice among families, and this year's refresh is hoping to cement that position despite the new competition. So is it successful in that mission? Let's go ahead and find out. So the Odyssey has always tried to be a stylish minivan, and I think with the 2021 updates, Honda has tried to, make it a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more stylish further still. So the main thing you're going to notice is up here in the front. This is a new grille design for 21. You'll notice a lot of the chrome has been eliminated, and we've gone to a black design for the majority of it. Here on the Touring and the Elite, you have a gloss black finish, and then you have a matte black finish on your lower trim levels. However, you will always still have this piece of chrome that runs across the top here. Now this does lead me over here to one of our other 2021 changes, and that is this full LED headlight arrangement. Now this is standard across all of the trim levels for 2021, where it was previously reserved for just the Touring and the Elite trim levels. And like I said, every element inside of this is LED. Finally, down below here, we have a new housing for our turn signal, as well as our LED fog lights, which are standard on all but the base LX. And going along with the same more aggressive theme from the front, Honda has redesigned the wheel options for 2021. So you'll start out with an 18-inch alloy on your lower trim levels. However, when you get up to the Touring trim level, that's where you'll get this 19-inch contrast alloy. Now on the Elite trim level, that has the biggest changes amongst the trim levels, since you have a 19-inch dark contrast alloy where the entire center part is all blacked out for that really aggressive look. And coming up here to your mirrors, you are going to find body color, heating, as well as blind spot monitoring on all but the base LX trim level. And then if you go up to the fully loaded Elite trim level, that's where you're going to get auto dimming as well as power folding. So here is the rear of the refreshed 2021 Odyssey. Now, as you can probably tell, there's not as many changes out back as there is up in the front. That is not to say that Honda hasn't changed anything though. So you're probably noticing the big change, which is this black piece of trim that goes in between the taillights. That's going to replace the chrome look of last year. And I do also want to point out that it does have a nice little chrome accent going through it, so it does kind of give that sporty look as well as a luxurious look. Now coming to the taillights themselves, these are going to be the same design as last year. They're LED accented, although the individual components are not LED. I do also want to point out that the spoiler has a slightly different look for 21, and then dropping down, you still are not going to have any exposed exhaust outlets. Now the minivan is a vehicle designed to haul around you and all of your family safely, and I'm happy to say that Honda has updated their safety suite to be standard across all of the lineup, not just the higher end models. So yes, that does mean that even the LX trim is going to include all of your advanced safety systems like lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, and auto high beams. And new for 2021, you're also going to have traffic sign recognition as well as low speed follow. Well, as you can see, Honda's done quite a bit with the exterior of this refreshed 21 Odyssey. So let's go ahead and hop on the inside, see what they've changed in there before we see all the utility in the back. So for the Odyssey, Honda was nice enough to include a smart entry system on all but the very base LX model, as well as remote start. Now you will notice a few extra buttons here for the van. Those are for your side doors. Now to get inside the vehicle itself, just grab behind the handle since there is a sensor. And when you look inside of this 21 Odyssey, you're not going to notice a great deal of changes, but as we kind of go through the review, I will be able to point out a few of the more subtle details that have been updated. Now, going through your different interior color and material options, you'll continue to find cloth seating on your LX and your EX trim levels, and that comes in gray, beige, or mocha color options. Then when you go for the EXL or above, that's where you'll get leather seating. That has those same three color options, but we also have a new option for 2021, and that's a traditional black. That was a little bit strange, but the previous model year did not offer black, and now we have that as an option for 21. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is very nicely finished. We have leather that covers the armrest as well as the area above it with a stitching detail, and it is soft touch along the top. Now this right here, this is one of our 21 changes because the gloss black interior trim used to be exclusive to just the Elite trim level, but now it is on the Touring and the Elite trim level. Off to the side here, we have 2-person memory seating on EXL and above, and then we have 4 fully automatic windows. Dropping down here to your seats, this is the 12-way power adjusting seat with 4-way lumbar support. That's on all but the base LX, which has an 8-way power seat. I will also point out for 2021, the carpeted floor mats have an updated design. I can't show that off to you though because we have the all-weather mats. As far as the seats themselves, like I said, this is real leather. When you go for the Elite, you will have a perforated design, and it also has been updated to have a color contrast piping detail. Now, as far as the materials, the Odyssey has always had a pretty nice cabin, and that does continue pretty much unchanged for 2021. So across your upper dash, you have a soft touch plastic with a stitching detail. Dropping down to the middle, we have a faux aluminum accent. Again, we have the piano black accents now on this Touring as well as the Elite. Otherwise, it would be a matte black. And then we have some more soft touch materials along through here. Finally, dropping down, of course, these materials, they are going to be hard touch, but everything in here fits together absolutely perfect, which is pretty much expected for a Honda. And to start up the Odyssey, you will have standard push button start. And once it fires up, you will be greeted with the typical Honda gauge cluster, which is mostly this 7-inch reconfigurable display in the middle, and then you have some small analog gauges on the outside edge. Now, this does contain all types of information, including things with your safety systems, and you can change different things with the design as well. Then coming back to the steering wheel itself, of course we do have electric power assisted steering and a nice leather wrapped wheel on the EXL trim level and above. Now the wheel itself is always going to be manual tilt and telescoping. However, if you choose the Elite level, that's where you'll add heating. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to interior storage, which is probably the most important part of a minivan's interior. So push that armrest out of the way, and you'll notice you have a big space right here where you can stick stuff right on top of this. And if we slide back this tray, you'll see we have a gigantic bin with a nice rubber lining down at the bottom of it. It's very, very deep, and we also have a USB and an aux jack inside. Now there's a lot of places we can stick the coupons, but I'll go ahead and stick them inside of this main covered storage, and as you can see, it absolutely gobbles them up. Now up in front of that, we've got a little tray here. This would double as a wireless phone charging pad on the Elite trim level. We've got 2 cup holders. Then we just have this gigantic space here, totally empty, great for sticking like a purse or a diaper bag. You can slide this out and you have a hidden tray where you can stick stuff. You could also stick your coupons in here as well. And then up above that, we have a lot of connections, including a household outlet right here. Now, pretty much typical to minivans in general, we have a shifter that's up and out of the way. In Honda's case, it is that they're a typical electronic shifter. So you're going to push down for drive. You can press again if you want to activate sport mode. And surprisingly, we can also shift via paddle shifters if you want to for whatever reason. For reverse, you pull back on the trigger. And when you do, you will find their typical backup camera activate. As you can see, we do have active trajectory. That's on all but the very base LX. And we also have several different views, but you do not have a 360-degree camera system on board. And then when we go into reverse, the mirrors do tilt down to help you see the parking lines better. And checking out the buttons around the shifter, you have a couple different drive modes, as well as your button to turn on and off your auto start stop system. Up above that, we have our 3-stage heated seats. Those are actually going to be standard on the EX trim level and above, so all but the very base model. And up above that, we have our 3-zone automatic climate control. This is also standard on all but the very base LX model, and adjustment is super simple. You just use this little toggle to adjust your temperatures. You have all physical controls right here, and then if you click the rear button, that's where you'll toggle into, of course, the rear climate. You can turn that on and off and control that here or in the display. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a sample of the audio system. Now, all the models except for the very top end model come with a 160 watt 7-speaker sound system instead of the 550 watt 11-speaker sound system. So let's sample that standard audio system. Overall sound quality is decent, but if you really enjoy listening to music, I would definitely suggest thinking about going up to that elite level and getting that upgraded sound system. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look around our Honda Link system. So up here we have our 8-inch display. This is on almost all the trim levels, but if you go for the LX, that's going to come with a small 5-inch display and an overall different type of system. So you've got capacitive controls down there on the side, and you'll notice this is Honda's newest software. So you have all the latest features on board, including Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities. Now if you choose the top 2 trim levels, you will have integrated Garmin navigation, and there are a lot of other Honda Odyssey features. Most of them are still exclusive to the Odyssey, though some of them have been added to the Pilot recently. I'll go through a few of them. You do have the social playlist. We also have the cabin watch camera, which is a really cool one. This comes on the touring trim level and up, and it's basically a security system for your rear seats. I do want to mention something related to this, and that is a new rear seat warning system, so that you don't leave your kids in the back seats accidentally. This works with this camera system to see if there is someone in the back seat. Now beyond that, we do have an auto dimming mirror with built-in HomeLink universal remotes on the EXL and above. And then up top here you will find a standard size moonroof. This is also standard on the EXL trim level and higher, but there is not a panoramic option due to the rear seat entertainment system. Now the rear seats of any minivan are probably the most important part of it, hands down. And I'm happy to say this Odyssey has a really nice rear seat, as it always has. So I'll go ahead and start by talking about the power rear door. This is going to be standard on all but the LX trim, and of course you do have buttons to control it right here on the side. Now in addition to that, you will also find your vent right there for the rear climate controls, and you're going to have a 3-zone setup that is controlled on the roof of the right side. Now as far as in the center here, we do have cup holders inside. Dropping down, you're going to have plenty of connections, so we have an HDMI port as well as 2 smart charging USBs. And that HDMI is going to be for this rear seat entertainment system that the Touring and Elite will have. This is going to be a really nice center mounted display, and it does have all of your signature Odyssey stuff like cabin talk, cabin watch, all of that good stuff is included with this display.
Now, moving away from the luxury features, let's talk about the utility of this Odyssey's rear seat. Now, we are going to have the Magic Slide seats on all but the very base LX trim. Now, as you can see, what we have right now is the bench seat installed. However, you can take this seat completely out and have a captain's chair set up with your fold-down armrest. And of course, in typical Odyssey fashion, you can slide sideways as well as forward and back, which is a really neat touch. And new for 2021 is that that can actually fold almost flat, which it didn't previously do. Now, as far as the legroom figures for this Odyssey, you're going to come in at 41 inches of rear legroom, 40 inches of rear headroom, which does place it above the Chrysler Pacifica as well as the current generation Sienna. And behind rear seating position, I have about, I would say, 7 to 8 inches of rear legroom. My feet can easily slide up underneath the seat, so I really can't see where your kids could be complaining about comfort back here. They may be complaining about other stuff, but it shouldn't be comfort in this Odyssey's rear seat. All right, now the third row is almost as important as the second row, so let's see how we can get back here. Now, of course, Honda has made it very easy, so all you have to do is locate this little lever right here, and that will fold the seat forward as well as allow it to slide up, and that makes entry into this third row really quite easy. Now, sitting back here in this third row, what do I think? Well, it's honestly hard to beat a minivan's third row because this is a extremely spacious place to spend time. It has 38 inches of both leg and headroom, and as you can see, this seat is slid completely all the way back, and look at the amount of space I have. I have about 4 inches of rear leg room. My feet can slide up underneath the seat. There is tons of room back here, and I mean it. You're not going to find as much space as this in any SUV. And then as far as off to the side, we do have 2 cup holders, a smart charging USB port. We even have vents mounted down here, and we have third row rear window sunshades. And I don't know if I mentioned it in the second row, but these rear window sunshades are going to be standard on all but the very base LX model. Now, coming up to your tailgate, you're going to have a Power One on the EXL trims and higher, and if you opt for that Elite, it will also be hands-free. So all you have to do is locate the button under the lid, and it will open right up. And once it opens, you are going to find about as much space as you could ever ask for in any vehicle. So you're going to see 33 cubic feet of space behind the third row seats. If you fold them, it expands to 89 cubic feet. And if you fold all of them, it goes all the way up to a absolutely ridiculous 145 cubic feet. Now, as far as how that compares to the competition, that's about the same, but definitely tons of space for anything you're going to need to haul. And as far as the finishings back here and what you're going to notice, we do have a really deep storage area right here. If you have the third row in place, you have this deep storage bin that pretty much goes all the way to the ground. Off to the side, we do have another storage cubby, which would be the Honda vac on the Elite model. And then in front, up top, we do have a 12-volt outlet. And then if you're curious about how to fold the third row, it's a very easy setup. Do just make sure that you don't have anything loaded in here, and then you can pull this strap, and the seat actually flies back and then can fold flat with the floor, which is definitely a very cool setup for this Odyssey. Now, your passenger seat on this Touring is actually going to have way more adjustments than you would think. You even have the power lumbar support. And then in front, we do have a good-sized glove box. It is nicely dampened. And as far as the coupons go, I know if you buy an Odyssey, you're going to have a lot of kids, so it's important to save money on the food. And I'm happy to say you can definitely fit a lot of coupons in here. I'd say you can probably fit 3 or 4 of these stacks in there. So any coupon for any restaurant you'd like. And then up top, we do have a gigantic sun visor with lighting as well as a mirror, and it does also detach. However, it does not extend.
And just like that, we're up to 60. Here in the 2021 Odyssey. Now, this does have the same powertrain setup as it did last year, which is a smooth V6 engine. So we have the same 3.5 liter V6 engine that's used in a variety of Honda products. 280 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. So very nice and healthy numbers. Again, like I said, very smooth delivery as well. And it is worth noting that that's going to be up significantly on power over the all-new Sienna once that comes out.
But now that we're cruising here at highway speed, I mean, it goes without saying, this is a very comfort-focused vehicle. This has, you know, even though Honda has kind of thrown in some black elements on the exterior for this refresh, there is not going to be much sport going on in its driving dynamics. It's comfort-focused for you and all of your family, and really, I have zero complaints for this Odyssey. I never had any complaints before, and just cruising down the road here at 57 miles an hour, it's incredible how smooth it is. Out of a vehicle that costs $40-some thousand, this is about as smooth as you're ever gonna get. You hit a bump, you're not gonna feel it. I mean, just listen to the level of quietness inside this cabin. And for good time's sake, I will also get a sound level reading. So before we started slowing down there, we were looking around 57.5 decibels, which that's a good reading, especially for that high of a speed. And audibly, I don't hear any wind noise or anything.
Really, really quiet in here.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal how quiet it is. Now I do want to go ahead and talk about the other aspect of the powertrain, which is our 10-speed automatic transmission. This is Honda's own developed transmission, and it's used in a few different products. Really good transmission. Super smooth. Even though it's got 10 speeds, which is a lot, of course, you really just don't feel it shifting. You know, it really just blends into the background. And what I particularly like about it is it never seems to be lost or confused. You know, you put your foot down, and you get that power immediately. You don't have to wait a long time for it to figure out, you know, what's the ideal gear. You know, it seems like it's ready to go. So this, even though it's a minivan and comfort focused, it still feels like, you know, pretty energetic as far as that's concerned.
It pairs really nicely with the smooth V6. Now, how the power is going to be put down for this Odyssey, it's going to be front wheel drive only. And that's going to be today's airball, is that this Odyssey still does not offer all-wheel drive, and the two main rivals, so the Toyota Sienna as well as the Chrysler Pacifica, do offer all-wheel drive, and a lot of people want that extra peace of mind, and it's just missing from this Odyssey. So I really think Honda should consider adding all-wheel drive and maybe charge a little bit higher of a price point. Now with that, we do also need to discuss the slam dunk for the Odyssey, and you're probably going to predict what I'm going to say. It's just the overall utility, space, comfort, overall just like family experience, I guess would be the best thing I could say it as, is that this vehicle is really as good as it gets for hauling around all three rows comfortably. It may not be the most stylish thing ever to drive a minivan, but it really gets the job done, and it does a fantastic job of just being comfortable and being exactly what your family needs. And I think that's just the overarching slam dunk for this Odyssey. And wrapping things up, I do want to discuss the fuel economy. This is unchanged for the refreshed 2021 model, so it's going to stay at 19 city, 28 highway, 22 combined. Of course, it is only front-wheel drive, so that's going to be your only fuel economy for the entire lineup. It is worth noting that when the new 2021 Sienna Hybrid comes out, that will probably have better fuel economy, although we don't have the EPA estimate for that. But once again, keep in mind that you're getting that silky smooth V6 engine for this Odyssey.
So all in all, this refresh, it didn't really change a ton for 2021, but I would say it really didn't need to change a ton. This is really a phenomenal family vehicle through and through, and you know, behind the wheel, it's just extremely smooth and comfortable, and you just get so many features and stuff that's geared toward making your family experience an awesome one. even compared to like the Honda Pilot, you're getting more for the money. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about pricing.
So for the all-new Odyssey, it's about a $500, or the refreshed one, it's about a $500 increase over last year. So the LX is going to start at $31,790, EX is $35,190, EXL is $38,460, and then you have this Touring at $42,500 and the Elite at $47,820. Now this one's equipment level, as you probably know, Honda doesn't really do options, but we do actually have one option for 2021, and that's going to be this paint color for $395, and then the destination charge of $1,120 brings this one to $44,015, which, you know, like Drew said, just ending that conclusion, for $44,000 you're getting a lot more than you would in an equivalent Pilot, and I really just think that this is the best and most efficient way for you to haul around all of your family in extreme comfort. Well guys, that's all for this first in-depth look of the refreshed 2021 Honda Odyssey Touring. We really appreciate you watching this video, and if you made it this far, I know that means you enjoyed at least a little bit, so be sure to push that subscribe button down below, and when you do, you will find tons of other automotive content. We have lots of content on this Odyssey, as well as other Honda models like the Pilot, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.